SMU came out in the first four and displayed the most awful showing of executing a game plan possible.
You are Locked On SMU, your daily podcast on the SMU Mustangs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Locked On SMU on this Thursday edition of the show. My name's Grayson Singleton. Coming up on the show today, SMU needs more size at this position going into next season. Plus, what is up with the whole BJ Edwards fiasco? People are going to ask questions, and we'll talk about it to close up the show. Again, my name's Grayson Singleton. So glad you've made Locked On Podcast your first listen of the day and made us the #1 sports podcast network. Okay, last night was an atrocity in terms of executing a game plan. It was the most mind-boggling thing I have ever seen in my entire life. Now, what do I mean by that? Because, well, you can say SMU played decently offensively. Not really. Well, you can say like they gave themselves a chance to win it when they went up in the second half. Cool. But SMU played the most scouting report brain dead game I have ever seen in my life. So there were a couple of things that we need to talk about here. Number one, why in the beginning of the game, SMU wanted to get into a 3-point fireworks show with Miami of Ohio was just, what are you doing? You have a clear and distinct size advantage on the interior. Nobody can match up with Simeon Yigutoglu. Nobody could match up with Jaden Toombs. It did not happen. Talked about this on Tuesday. Miami of Ohio only plays one or two guys that are 6'9". Jaden Toombs is 6'10". Simeon Yigutoglu 7'2", and 270 pounds. There was no reason why at the beginning of the game, SMU had shot 7 threes in the first 6 minutes. No reason whatsoever. It was craziness. And I really think that SMU just was not ready to play. Their guards got sped up somehow. And guys just did not have an understanding of the game plan or have an understanding of mismatches or could not put that understanding into practice. It was terrible. The second thing SMU did not do game plan wise is close out on shooters. Just a poor lack of effort. Just a lack of effort all the way around at the beginning of the game. And Miami missed some of those open threes. They missed a couple. But I knew this was going to be a long night if we saw short closeouts, late closeouts. And we saw that all night long. And I get Miami made some shots. Miami made some tough shots. That is true. Credit to Miami for that. But if you're SMU, you've got to look back at that tape and say, we knew going into this game today that the other team was a 40% three-point shooting team. And they wanted to get up 43s in the game. How in the world are we not closing out? I just do not understand this. For the life of me, how close out and stop the three-point shot was not the A1 thing on the game plan. It's wild. It's wild how that slipped through the cracks. And I have no understanding of it. None whatsoever. And then number 3. We talked about the poor offense, talked about the poor closeouts, and then you just got outworked. Just straight up got outworked. And whether you're a team full of the most athletic guys on the planet, or you're a team like Miami of Ohio with a bunch of white dudes, if you win your first 31 games, no matter where on that spectrum you fall, if you as a team win your first 31 games, you know what that says to me as an opposing team? Boy, these dudes give effort. Because basketball has way too many variables for things to just go perfectly your way and not have a few bumps, and you have to scramble a little bit to keep that undefeated start alive. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? You go on a winning streak like that in the sport of basketball, you're going to have to get dirty sometimes. And Miami of Ohio, far and away, was the team that wanted it more. I mean, you had guys crashing into their own dudes waiting at the scores table. Travis Steele running down, helping him back up, get back onto the floor. Miami of Ohio got way too many offensive rebounds, way too many hustle rebounds. Where was the effort? Where was the want to? Where was we're in the freaking NCAA tournament. Let's lay it all out there on the line. We're in a one and done situation. Where was it? Where was it for SMU? Because sometimes it can take, not everybody will notice that they didn't take advantage of the size mismatch, even though most of you have, and astutely so. Not everybody will notice things like short closeouts. Everybody can see which team gave the most effort for most of that game last night. SMU didn't start matching Miami, Ohio in the effort department until it looked like they were finna lose. They did not until they looked like they were about to lose and said, oh man, we've got to get back into this game. And that to me was disappointing. I can live with a bad shooting night. And it was more than a bad shooting night. It was dismal. It was dismal from three. Boopie Miller, I hate that that's the way he has to go out, but he was dreadful. Jerron Pierre Jr. was not great. Corey Washington gave good effort as the game went on, but he didn't shoot the ball well. Nobody shot the ball well. Oh, except the 2 7-footers. The 2 7-footers shot it well. Why? Because nobody could match up with them. And SMU went to them early and often in the second half. And then for some odd reason, got away from it. Just got away from it. There's a lot of credit you can give this Miami of Ohio team with the way they executed their game plan. There's a lot of credit. And Travis Steele outcoached Andy Enfield. But we're an SMU show, so we're going to talk about this from the SMU angle. And it was the most atrocious execution of a game plan and execution of a scouting report known to man. Because with the things that we knew about Miami of Ohio coming into play today, Cement should have had 6 dunks. They should have been going inside to Toombs the entire time. Who cares if you're a guard-led team? Which SMU is. They are a guard-led team and a guard-dominant team. But, hello? You got a 7'2" dude with another team that nobody can match up. I just didn't understand it. It was a befuddling game, perplexing game to watch last night. And it's a shame that that's how the season came to an end. All right, coming up next, as Locked On SMU continues, SMU is going to need more size at this position. If you watched the live reaction last night, you'll know what I'm talking about, but we'll talk about it more coming up next. Locked On SMU continues. Welcome to the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like Confetti Craze, Fruity Rainbow, or Cotton Candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and I've got my number one pick for the 5-Hour Energy Flavor Draft, and we're going to go with Cotton Candy. It's a delicious swirl of sugary clouds, a fruity twist, and a hint of vanilla, but it's got that airy profile that reminds you of, I don't know, how about that cotton candy you grew up liking at the fair or wherever you got cotton candy from? That's right. It will bring back the nostalgia of your childhood with this cotton candy flavor. And even better, even though it tastes sweet, 5-Hour Energy shots give you a boost with 0 sugar. And they've got a lot of upcoming flavor innovations that are already planned. Find your new favorite's flavor of 5-Hour Energy shots. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. All right, welcome back to the show. Grayson Singleton, Locked On SMU on this Thursday edition. Hey, make sure you check out our Everydayer Club. Get your first month free of the Everydayer Club when you sign up and use code MARCH. You'll unlock ad-free episodes and entry into our private listener group chat where, we're all kicking it daily. Click the link in the show notes or go to lockedonsmu.supercast.com to claim your free month. And while you're at it, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We'd love to have you be a part of this growing community. Okay. One of the things that stood out to me the most last night was that Miami found a clear, distinct advantage with anybody against Boopie Miller. And even though Boopie is a smaller guard, even though he is not a great defender, I'll put it like that, I don't recall one time I saw a team hunt him defensively like Miami of Ohio did yesterday. It was Luka Doncic-like. Like, those of you that watch the NBA know that Luka Doncic is such a bad defender that people want to put him in the pick and roll, and when they get him on him, they're thinking barbecue chicken. And that's what Miami of Ohio did. They took full advantage anytime Boopie Miller was the on-ball defender. And it led me to think that even though Boopie was an excellent, and I do not want to understate this, an excellent offensive player, I don't really want to run this back. Now, here's what I mean. Boopie Miller's out of eligibility, so Boopie's not coming back. We know that. But I don't want to run this back with smaller guards like this. Because SMU needs to get so much better defensively next year. It is hard to be a good defensive team when you've got a smaller guard, unless he is just a straight pit bull on defense. And that's not what Boopie was. And when you look at where the Mustangs can improve, you have no qualms about their offense. No qualms about their offense whatsoever. Their offense was great this year. It was awesome. Right? Like, you had dynamic scoring all over the place. You had interior presence that, by the way, got better as the season went on. To me, that was the thing that stood out the most, is that Simeon and Jaden were getting better as the season went on. So the offense was never the problem for SMU. The problem was that they never could get enough stops. And I think it starts with having a smaller guard. I think it would also help in the rebounding department as well, because, again, Mustangs didn't rebound the ball well last night. That was one of the things that stood out. And going from whatever Boopie is at 5'10", 5'11", to a guy who is 6'2", I don't think should be that difficult. Not for a team that went to the NCAA tournament and has the litany of resources that are available to them at SMU. That should not be a very tall order to find a dude who can get you, let's just say, can get you 14 a night, but is a great defender and has high IQ and can play some defense. I don't think that should be that difficult for the Mustangs. So I'm not concerned here. This is not a concern going into next year that, I don't know if they can get a guy like, I think they can. Because I think there is a high supply of dudes like that. And again, this is not to, I know this could get a little bit misconstrued and say that I'm attacking Boopie's effort. By no means am I doing that. But his limitation was his size. And the fact that he wasn't a good defender. He tried, but he wasn't good at it. Like, that's the reality of the situation. So they've got to get better there. It also begs the question, too. The Mustangs need to get better defensively all the way around. I think that is something that we've got to say, too. Because it wasn't just Boopie. Because if it was one dude who wasn't good defensively, there's ways to mask that. There's a lot of teams that can successfully mask that. And they've shown it over the course of time in college basketball and in the NBA. You can mask one bad defender. But this team didn't have a rim protector. So I think either Cement needs to develop into a rim protector or they need to get another big man to figure out how to shore that up. And then outside of BJ Edwards, was anybody else on this team known for defense? Like Jerron was okay defensively. Jermaine O'Neal, Sam Walters, gave good effort though. We'll say that. But this team's Achilles heel the entire year was keeping people out of the paint, and they were not a good rebounding team. So they're going to need to do an entire makeover of what their perimeter defensive profile can be. Plus, they need a shot blocker. But I think it's going to start in terms of if you really want to get better defensively, and SMU should want to get better defensively going into next season, it's going to start with, can we get bigger at the point guard spot? Because even though Boopie could score, even though Boopie could facilitate, and he was very good at both, it led to a problem on defense. Straight up. It led to a problem on defense. And the Mustangs are now ending the season with 20 wins and an exit in the first four. So that alone should tell you that even though you had one of the best offenses in the country, you got to be able to get stops to win at a high level. You have got to be able to get stops. And SMU was not able to get enough of those this season. So I've said this before and I'll say it again. I would not mind if the Mustangs went down 3 to 5 points in their season average in terms of points per game as a team. I would not mind that one bit. If it came at the expense of them being much improved defensively, I would not mind that at all because it needs to happen. And this Mustang team needs to be able to defend and rebound and get more stops and block more shots going into next season. So if that comes at the expense of having one of the better offenses in the ACC, I'm cool with that. Because I think SMU will be able to win better if they are able to defend better next season. All right, one more segment to go. Locked On SMU continues. The BJ Edwards fiasco. This ain't a good look, and I'll tell you why. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and to book your appointment. The biggest stretch of the college basketball season is almost here. Buzzer beaters, bracket busters, and those unforgettable moments that everyone's talking about the next day. Being there live for something like that, that's bucket list stuff. The hard part is actually always getting tickets. Long queues, prices jumping around, and surprise fees at checkout. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means 100% legitimate tickets that are delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay, period. And the best thing about the Game Time app is the seat view feature. It's a game changer, and you can see a panoramic view from your exact seat before you buy it. No stress, no guesswork, just a smooth experience from start to finish. That's exactly what you want during the busiest part of the season. Take the guesswork out of buying college basketball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. All right, one more segment to go here on Locked On SMU, and the main storyline from this game is not going to be the fact that SMU lost. The residual kind of conversation is going to be, did SMU deceive people to get into the NCAA tournament? I've already seen it percolating on Twitter. This is going to be a conversation. And look, for my money, because I've seen this before, I do think SMU fully expected BJ Edwards to be able to go. And then shoot around came, and it was like, nope, this ain't going to happen. Like, I do firmly believe that, because that happens a lot more than people realize. A lot more. The problem is, it isn't spotlighted as much because that team released a statement telling the committee, we're going to be at full strength, put us in. Now, even if BJ Edwards was not expected to play, SMU should have still been in over Auburn, and they should still have been in over Oklahoma. My opinion of that does not change. Now, here's what we're going to have to deal with. The cold, hard truth about this BJ Edwards situation is that this is a bad look. It's a bad look. Whether or not this situation had nefarious intentions, it's a bad look, because it looks like, to an outside observer, that SMU manipulated the system and deceived people along the way to get into the First Four and then lose. That is not going to go over well. And by the way, you're still dealing with committees. So what if SMU ends up on the bubble again? The committee might look at SMU sideways or hold a grudge and say, you know what? We're going to find every reason possible to keep you out the next time that you end up with your fate in our hands. It's a rough look. And I can make a pretty good guess as to what could go on. The committee doesn't seem like it is devoid of holding grudges. This is the NCAA we're talking about. Does the NCAA strike you as anybody who just forgives and forgets? Man, hell no. Unless you're living under a rock. No, people are going to remember this. If SMU ends up in a similar situation again, there will be a lot of talk, and I mean a lot of talk, about, okay, are they lying? Even though sports people will recognize this is a song and dance that goes on all the time. X player is questionable but expected to play. Go on the football field, take batting practice, do shoot around, and they're just not right. It's a normal thing that happens. But you're not always issuing a statement as a school and as an athletic department to say, this guy's going to be available. This is the final nail in the coffin for why you should put us in. It's not going to go over well, and it has not gone over well. They mentioned it on the broadcast that the school had said BJ Edwards was going to be available, and right before tip-off, Jordan Kent kicked it over to the sideline reporter. I think it was Jenny Dell, and she was like, yeah, no, not going to happen. It's not a good look. It's really, really not. Even though there is sports reason and sports logic and health logic behind it, I'm telling you it's not a good look. It is not. And I don't know BJ Edwards' body. Nobody does. BJ does. But not a lot of people are going to care. Not a lot of fans are going to care. Not a lot of fans use reason. They're not going to think through this. All they're going to see is, you said he was going to play. He did not play. What's going on? What's up? It looks like you deceived people so you could get your way. And look, I do not believe, because there is no basis to believe this, that SMU intentionally deceives somebody. I do not think SMU intentionally deceives somebody. And the reason I don't think that SMU intentionally deceived anybody is because the Mustangs were chomping at the bit to get him back, because they are a shell of themselves without BJ Edwards. So I think they fully intended to have him back because they were really good with him and awful without him. The with him and the without records speak for themselves. I do believe SMU fully expected him back. But sometimes that's the way things go. Sometimes you don't get him back. So I don't think that SMU was trying to game the system here. But there's not a lot of people that are going to care whether or not SMU tried to game the system or not. It's going to be a stain on the Mustangs if they find themselves in the committee's hands in terms of qualifying for the NCAA tournament again next year. Now, in 5 years, does this thing wear off and is water under the bridge? Probably. But in the immediate future, I don't know. But what we can all say, fans alike, not the greatest look right now. All right, that'll do it for Locked On SMU here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Appreciate you guys tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. Make sure you join our Everydayer Club Bracket Challenge before the madness tips off later today. We'll talk to you guys for a Friday episode. Take it easy.